Hi everyone, my name's Ajay. I'm a developer at Atlassian. I work on the ecosystem team at Atlassian. So ecosystem team is the one which creates platform for in-product app developers so that they can create apps which will be rendered in the products like Jira, Confluence, and all the other products. So today I'm going to talk about future of in-product apps and how at Atlassian we are defining it now and we are building a one. So uh, before that, quick show of hand, like how many of us here have used Confluence from Atlassian? Awesome, cool, thanks. So, so Confluence is basically like a collaboration tool by Atlassian where teams can come and create shared documents and also spec out documents, a marketing strategy. There's a lot of things in there. One of the key aspects of Confluence is editor, where people can go in and create documentation to which will be posted on Confluence. Now, here's a it's a video I'll play. So it's a Confluence page which shows the editor where people write their applications. And so one of the things which you can do in Confluence, it hit a backslash key which gives a list of apps available. You can select an app and you can publish the page. So now that app is part of your page. Now, if we imagine from a customer point of view or somebody who's consuming the app or building the page right now, this looks like a really perfect flow. You didn't have to change context. You didn't have to go to a separate page to add an app to this page. You were in the page in the same context and the app was added. Now, keeping that in mind, if we move behind the scenes, what actually happens behind the scenes? So in reality, the thing which happens is Atlassian we have our own infrastructure where we host Confluence in this case, and the app developers, people who own the app, they have their own infrastructure somewhere. They have their service up which interacts with our infrastructure. So once you add a page application to a page or to a product, we make a call to that particular infrastructure to get the app how it should render. With the return data, we render the app. Now, if you imagine at the app infrastructure end, they have to implement HTTP modules, HTTP, and they need to know the routes, what particular request came in. They need to implement authentication to make sure the request comes from Atlassian product and not a bad request or somebody trying to hack in. And they also need to write the business logic, which is actually the thing their app came into existence for. So, and if it's a big app and something which people have deals with the data, they would also have a data layer and also have data policies. That a lot of things which we need to build. Now, if we imagine this might look like a standard and acceptable structure which we have right now. So if we imagine right now, if somebody has to build an app, we mostly spin up a servers and we maintain a service, and the app that's how it's consumed. We own the infrastructure. But as a person, I have spin off services. Spinning off services is easy. The thing which is hard is maintaining the service and keeping care of the service, building all the metrics and monitoring and keeping it healthy. So at Atlassian, our team ecosystem tried to address this or get a next version of application development. So one first step which was feasible was, what if we can move the app infrastructure or whatever infrastructure our app vendors build into our own infrastructure, which means okay, it's missing label, but that's whole Atlassian infrastructure now. So what if we move the whole app infrastructure and provided platform as a service, where people just push up there all the code and we have the platform, we own the platform. In this case, if you imagine now, we own the platform, so we know what are the regions in which products are deployed, and the app is deployed. We can understand what is going to be the latency, and there are a lot of benefits from there. But this was the first step. Now, if we look at this more granularly and closely, we would understand there's still some of the things which app developers doesn't really should care about, which is HTTP routes and authentication. What if we can handle them and they just give us business logic? So this is a fast model, which is function as a service, which would be app developers would just write a function, they would upload the function, we would host it, we would run it, and they don't need to care about authentication, about HTTP routes or anything. We would get all the information, we give them information, you give us back, that will be rendered on the page. So this is a really good model which works well. So, and which is pretty new to the app development environment. I'm not sure if any company does that already, but we are looking forward to this and we are working on it. So we are working on a thing called Forge. Actually, this slide is introducing Forge because Forge is right now in beta, in a closed beta. Documentation is out. You can look through how it works, but we are still like working on it and working on adoption. So now, keeping the last slide in mind, you might imagine now Atlassian is actually gonna pull up the app developer's code and execute it there in their infrastructure. There are a lot of safety, security stuff that comes up, because once you start executing external code or third-party code on your infrastructure, it can anytime infiltrate in your infrastructure unless we have all the security models in place. So that's the thing. And before we go into that, like Forge in itself has a lot of modules in there. Like we host AWS Lambda, we have got invocation layer and everything. But I'll be going into only the isolation for now, because that's one of the things which really interests me and the thing which I work on. So now, if we talk while talking about third-party code, and if we look at our daily life, we are doing that right now. Right now, all of us own laptop. Whenever we visit a website on any browser, we are actually downloading a third-party code and executing it on our machine. But we actually trust the browser's implementation to make sure browsers stop the external JavaScript or the code which is running, so that they cannot read our storage, our disk, and publish our data to third-party application or to their own servers. So we kind of have that, and that was our inspiration. What if we can build the same kind of infrastructure the way browsers do? So looking at browsers implementation, there's a really famous and pioneer JavaScript execution environment called V8, which Node.js uses at present. So we took an inspiration from that. And if we look at the browsers, in a browser, when you open a page, we have a thing called iframes right now. So imagine iframes in itself are isolated from the page. Iframes cannot interact with the page. You can actually keep the item isolated. So we looked at the implementation of iframe and tried to think that if we can have the similar thing. So we went with isolates construct. So isolates is a construct by V8, and what it does is it spins up, like it gives you an isolated JavaScript execution environment. So which means it's an environment, you put your JavaScript in there, it runs, and it doesn't share memory with other isolates at all. So if there are two functions running in two isolates, there is no shared memory. They can't share resources or read and write the memories. If you want to do that, we have to give them APIs, which we definitely take care of not giving them. So now, isolates is great, it works really well, but here's a catch. Isolates is a JavaScript execution environment. It's a pure JavaScript execution environment, so it doesn't come with any Node APIs or browser APIs, for example, fetch. It doesn't come with fetch. So what we went with the strategy is we spin up an isolates, we run your app code and create a bridge. So bridge is, imagine just like in iframes we have post message. So similarly we have like you send a message and you receive a message. So that's how it works. So post and send message, and as an app developer, you don't have control over our infrastructure or even to infiltrate it. So that's how we achieve this, and this kind of model is called request isolation, so people cannot actually jump out of it. So that's how we achieved it. Now, I wanted to demo Forge, there's one thing I want to point out. If we look at this model again, so if you imagine, again, I said like spin up service, and as an app dev, as a company, it's okay. But if, as us, we see our managers or our team using Atlassian products in Confluence and stuff like that, and we see like, oh man, if I could extend this product, if I could add an app here to add the customizability and change how the data is represented or anything like that, spinning up a service or a server is an option, but it requires a big decision, because then somebody would end up maintaining, and not really a story for a developer who is in a team and just wants to build something for a team. So that's one of the features which Forge gives you. You don't need to do that. You just need to write a function, upload it. We would own it, and like you would still own the code, but we'll own about the security model, the data model, how the data hosts, and how it goes. So that's Forge. It's in beta right now. So I've got demo for you. Do we have time? Okay, cool. So so instead of doing live demo, I've got a recorded video. I'll do that. Cool. So here's my terminal. I'll just show you an example how easy and how it is to get up and running with building apps, and you can see like everything coming in. So in Forge, we give out a CLI tool. You can just install it. You log in Forge, and you just run Forge create, and which means like if your company owns Confluence Cloud, like works with Confluence Cloud, you can just run Forge create, select the app you want to create, and here I selected Hello World TypeScript. Oops. Sorry. Can I control this? Yeah. So I selected Hello World TypeScript. So it gives out TypeScript starter template to me already with installed node dependencies and everything. Now, if I just cd into the app, I just need to run Forge deploy. I just need to run Forge deploy, and it will take care of setting up lambdas for me, creating the bundle of the application for me, hosting it in Atlassian infrastructure. So that part is done. Your app is already deployed. Your service is kind of up. So, and the thing is, you can just run Forge install. So install is like on the instance, Confluence instance in this example, you want to install, just give the URL. Just give the URL, and this part is consent, so that make sure you have at least access to that particular instance to install the application. Once you are done with that, so once you are done with that, you refresh your page, and you have an app up and running in Confluence. So you can see the Hello World app is there, the Hello World code. The app is up and running in Confluence. So this was achieved. The next part is just me find the stop button of QuickTime. Cool. Just wanted to give a small glimpse of how the code actually looks. Okay, it is embedded somewhere. It's there on my desk now, but I don't know where. So anyhow, this is how it works, and this is a kind of future of apps, in-product apps that Atlassian is working on called Forge. It's in beta. Go check it out, and if you have any questions, please ask.
I got a question for the side, but it could be a plan.
How do you get to Forge? How do I find it?
Oh, that's a really good question. That would make me open my browser. So, with Atlassian, we host all our developer documentation on a website called developer.atlassian.com. Pretty obvious. You can go to documentation, and I'll use Forge search.
Right there on the front page. The big thing is Forge.
Yeah, it's there. Let's click on. Yeah, it took me to.
Yeah, /Forge. You would have known. That's it.
Yeah, should have gone. I should have gone there. Yeah, you can even go to. Once again. So here's the thing in Atlassian, we use Go links a lot. So in the end, that's all you remember, not the actual URLs. Yeah, go/forge docs for there it is. So as I told, like it's in beta right now. If you want to try it out, you can join the waiting list and try it out how it works. And that's it.
Thank you.